The Plaza Hotel's crystal ballroom sparkled with fairy lights and roses, filled with 200 guests celebrating what they thought was a perfect marriage. The champagne was flowing, the band was playing our song, and I was about to give my anniversary toast when the doors burst open. A woman in a faded dress walked in, 3 children trailing behind her. The room fell silent as she marched straight to our table, where my wife Veronica sat in her $8,000 designer gown, diamond tiara glittering under the chandeliers. 10 years, the woman announced, loud enough for everyone to hear. You promised me 10 years was enough. Time to choose, Veronica. Your real family or this charade. My name is Natalie Cross, and in that moment, my entire world tilted on its axis. But what nobody in that ballroom knew, not even my wife, was that I'd been preparing for this moment for 6 months. I met Veronica at a charity gala 12 years ago. She was everything I wasn't, sophisticated, worldly, from old Atlanta money. I was new money, a tech entrepreneur who'd gotten lucky with a startup. She swept into my life like a hurricane, all charm and passion and promises of forever. You're different, she'd said on our 3rd date. Real. Honest. Not like the people in my world. The irony of that statement would haunt me later. We married after 18 months in a wedding that cost more than most people's houses. Veronica insisted on handling all the planning. I have very specific tastes, she'd said. I was too in love to notice the red flags. Why she insisted on a specific date. Why no one from her family attended except a distant cousin. Why she honeymooned alone while I handled a business emergency she'd orchestrated. For 9 years, I thought we were happy. We built a beautiful life, penthouse apartment, vacation homes, successful careers. Veronica ran her interior design firm, while I expanded my tech company. We talked about children, but she always said next year. We traveled, but never to certain states. She was devoted, but sometimes strangely distant. The first crack came 6 months ago. I was cleaning out our home office when I found a credit card statement addressed to Veronica Mills instead of Veronica Cross. Same first name, different last name, billing address in Houston. My stomach dropped, but I told myself there must be an explanation. Identity theft, maybe. A mistake. But the entrepreneurial instincts that built my company kicked in. Trust but verify. I hired a private investigator. Catherine Chen came highly recommended, a former FBI agent who specialized in financial fraud. I just need to confirm my wife isn't a victim of identity theft, I told her, handing over the statement. Catherine called me a week later. We need to meet in person. Not at your home or office. We met at a small cafe downtown. She slid a folder across the table, and my world imploded. Your wife is Veronica Mills, she said gently. She's been married to Robert Mills of Houston for 15 years. They have 3 children, ages 14, 12, and 9. The room spun. That's impossible. We've been married for 10 years. I know. She married you without divorcing him. She's been living a double life, spending roughly half her time with each family. The interior design business she runs? It's the perfect cover. Client meetings in Houston are actually family time. Design conferences in Atlanta are her time with you. The folder contained everything. Photos of Veronica with another family. School records listing her as the mother. A mortgage in Houston with both their names. And most damning, a marriage certificate dated 3 years before ours. There's more, Catherine said softly. I found communications between her and someone named Patricia Cross. Your mother. My mother had died 2 years ago, leaving me devastated. She'd been my rock, my biggest supporter. What could she have to do with this? They were discussing your mother's will, Catherine continued. Specifically, the trust fund she left. The one that passes to you on your 10th wedding anniversary, next month. It's worth approximately $50 million. The pieces clicked into place. Mom's strange insistence on the 10-year clause. Her comments about making sure about Veronica. I'd thought she was being old-fashioned, not trusting my wife. Turns out she was protecting me. Veronica's been planning this for a decade, Catherine said. Marry you, wait out the trust terms, inherit half in the divorce. But there's a problem with her plan. Besides bigamy, the morality clause. Your mother was thorough. Any criminal activity, fraud, or acts of moral turpitude void the spouse's claim to the trust. Bigamy qualifies on all counts. I spent the next 5 months playing the loving, oblivious wife while gathering evidence. Catherine was thorough. Financial records, travel documents, even DNA tests on items from our home confirming the children in Houston were Veronica's. The hardest part was pretending everything was normal. Smiling at dinner while knowing she'd fly to Houston the next day. Planning our anniversary party while documenting her lies. Sharing a bed with someone who'd made a mockery of our entire marriage. But I needed her to think she'd won. Because Veronica wasn't the only one who could play a long game. I insisted on a massive anniversary party. 10 years deserves a celebration, I said, watching her eyes light up with greed. She saw dollar signs. The trust would activate at midnight on our anniversary. Half of $50 million would set her up for life. Whatever you want, darling, she'd purred. This is our special day. I hired the best party planner in Atlanta, sparing no expense. I also hired several other professionals, a process server, security guards, and my new lawyer, who'd prepared some special documents of his own. The night of the party arrived. Veronica glowed with anticipation, checking her phone constantly. I knew why now. She was coordinating with someone. The final phase of her plan. As I stood to give my toast at 11:30 p.m., 30 minutes before the trust activated, I saw her texting furiously. Then the ballroom doors opened. Rebecca Mills, the woman I'd seen in countless surveillance photos, walked in with 3 teenagers. She looked exhausted, angry, and ready for war. 10 years, she announced to the room. You promised me 10 years was enough. Time to choose, Veronica. Your real family or this charade. Veronica's face was a masterpiece of calculation. She'd orchestrated this. The public confrontation, the sympathy she'd garner as the victim caught between 2 lives, the quick divorce settlement I'd agree to just to make the scandal go away. I don't understand, she stammered, playing confused. Who are you? Don't play dumb, Rebecca snapped. I'm your wife. These are your children. Did you really think you could keep this up forever? The guests gasped, phones coming out to record. Veronica turned to me with tears in her eyes. Fake always fake. Natalie, I can explain. No need, I said calmly, pulling out my own folder. I've known for 6 months. The room went silent. Veronica's tears stopped mid-roll. What? Rebecca, is it? I addressed the other woman. I'm so sorry you've been dragged into this. You should know that Veronica and I were legally married 10 years ago today, which makes your marriage invalid. That's impossible, Rebecca protested. We've been married for 15 years. Then she committed bigamy, I said simply, which is a felony. But don't worry, I have something for everyone. I nodded to my lawyer, who stepped forward with several uniformed officers. Veronica Mills Cross, one officer announced. You're under arrest for bigamy, fraud, and conspiracy. This is ridiculous. Veronica shrieked, the mask finally dropping completely. You can't prove anything. Actually, I said, pulling out a tablet, I can. 6 months of evidence. Your travel records. Your communications with both families. Your plans to claim half my mother's trust. Oh, and this recording from last week where you told your lawyer friend exactly how you'd played that stupid tech bitch for 10 years. I hit play. Veronica's voice filled the ballroom, dripping with contempt as she detailed her scheme. The guests gasped. Rebecca went pale. The children, those poor children, looked devastated. But here's the best part, I continued as officers cuffed my wife. Remember the prenup you signed? The one you thought was so favorable because it guaranteed you half of everything acquired during marriage? Check paragraph 47, subsection C. My lawyer handed her a highlighted copy. In the event of criminal fraud perpetrated by either party, all marital assets revert to the innocent spouse. That's not enforceable. Veronica spat. Your signature says otherwise. But wait, there's more. The trust you were counting on? Activates in. I checked my watch. 23 minutes. But there's a morality clause. Bigamy voids any spousal claim. You get nothing. The rage on her face was volcanic. I wasted 10 years on you. No, I corrected. You wasted 15 years on a scheme that just got you arrested. Rebecca, I have something for you too. I handed the exhausted woman another folder. Proof of bigamy means your marriage was never valid. But it also means you're entitled to compensation. My lawyer will help you file both criminal and civil charges. There's also information about accounts Veronica has been hiding from both of us. Rebecca's hands shook as she read. There's over $2 million here. Money she stole from both of us to fund her double life. It's yours. You raised 3 children alone while she played house with me. Consider it back child support. One of the teenagers, the eldest, about 14, stepped forward. You're giving us mom's money? After what she did to you. I looked at this child who'd grown up with a part-time mother and full-time liar. I'm giving you what you're owed. What she owes you. I have more than enough. You've had to share your mother for 10 years. That ends now. As security led Veronica out, she turned back one last time. You think you've won? I loved you. In my way, I loved you. No, I said quietly. You loved my money. You loved the life I gave you. You loved the thrill of the con. But love? Real love doesn't lie. Real love doesn't betray. Real love doesn't treat people like investments. The party ended in chaos, guests fleeing the scandal. But I stood in that beautiful ballroom, surrounded by the ruins of my fake marriage, and felt free. Rebecca approached me before leaving with the children. I don't understand why you're helping us. Because we're both victims, I said simply. Because those kids deserve better. Because anger won't undo the past 10 years, but justice might help us all move forward. She nodded, tears in her eyes. I'm sorry. For barging in like this. She told me you knew. Said you were polyamorous, that this was all agreed. She lied to both of us. But we know the truth now. The aftermath was swift. Veronica pled guilty to avoid trial, getting 5 years for bigamy and fraud. The divorce was uncontested, hard to contest from prison. She lost everything except the clothes on her back. Rebecca and the kids relocated to Atlanta with the settlement money. We're not friends, too much pain for that, but we occasionally have coffee. She's rebuilding her life, getting therapy, learning who she is without Veronica's lies. The trust activated at midnight on my anniversary, just as planned. $50 million, untouchable by the woman who'd spent 10 years trying to steal it. Mom had protected me even from beyond the grave. I sold the penthouse, too many fake memories. Bought a smaller place, something real, something mine. Started therapy to unpack how I'd missed the signs, how I'd loved someone who never existed. My company thrives. I date carefully now, background checks and all. Trust but verify became more than a business motto. It's a life philosophy. Sometimes I wonder about the woman I thought I married. The one who laughed at my jokes and held me during Mom's funeral and promised forever. But that woman never existed. Veronica was a character, a performance, a decade-long con that failed because of one thing she never counted on. My mother's love and protection outlasting her death. The Plaza Hotel still hosts grand parties in the Crystal Ballroom. But they'll never host another one quite like my 10th anniversary, where a bigamist's greed collapsed under the weight of her own lies, where 2 wives discovered they'd married the same woman, where justice arrived dressed in designer clothes and carrying damning evidence. My name is Natalie Cross. I thought I was celebrating 10 years of marriage. Instead, I exposed 10 years of lies. When my wife's secret family showed up with a marriage certificate, I pulled out my own folder and proved that bigamy voids everything, especially her claim to my inheritance. She wanted my mother's money. She got handcuffs instead. Some anniversaries celebrate love. Mine celebrated the truth. And the truth, as they say, set me free. Thanks for watching. See you again in the next video. Stay stunned.